Oh, I'll give a clap. There we go. So, welcome everybody to this free Zoom with wonderful Yulya Chai. And we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about?
Am I beautiful?
Are you beautiful?
Are you beautiful? Yes, the topic for our Zoom is Are you beautiful? And I'm so happy to have this talk with you, Andrea. And
Likewise.
for me, it's a great possibility to introduce you to Russian audience. I know there are not only people from Russia on this Zoom, but it's especially for Russian speaking audience. And thanks to beautiful Tatiana for translating this call. And for me, it's new experience because I'm usually facilitating in Russian or translating into Russian, but today we talk in English.
Yes, exactly. And there I put us side by side as well. And
Yes.
yes, thank you, Tatiana, for the amazing work. And have fun, whatever you do. And yes, this title actually came up from you. And would you like to say more about it? Because that was very, very interesting and I loved it.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say more about our first kind of meeting. It wasn't our first meeting. First we met in Istanbul, I think in January,
Yes.
but about my first experience with you as a photographer and facilitator at the castle.
Yes.
Yeah, and I shared this story with some people that read my posts and follow me. But, it was kind of a destiny. I don't know, they believe in destiny or not, but it was like, oh, it was my 3 last hours in the castle in Italy. And I was almost packing my stuff. And all my time in the castle, I was like, diving in all this beauty and elegance and thinking, I wish Andrea would be here to make photo of me. But he wasn't there. And it's like my 3 last hours in the castle and we have a dinner or something. And I go out and I see you and Amanda and your sweet doggy walking into the castle. And I'm like, this is the time. And we had like it wasn't 30 minutes, but it was like 30-minute session, but I think it took longer,
Way longer.
way longer. And for me, it was like a whole universe opened, not out of time, out of space, uh, receiving the contribution you be with the camera and beyond the camera. And the transformation I got from this shooting, I cannot even call this a shooting because I had many experience with photographers in my life. This was beyond. And the way you perceive the beauty and you invite a person in front of your camera to open up to the beauty he or she is, it totally blew my mind. And the moment you said you have a class on defining beauty, something sparked for me, because for me this topic of beauty is really like not the easiest topic in my life. All the time, like every day, I spend some time in front of the mirror, kind of in the question, am I beautiful? And today I would like to talk with you about beauty and what is possible beyond our definitions of it. And maybe you share some tools or awareness, how you perceive this, because you have totally different perceiving about this.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you so much. And yes, incredible with the synchronicity and the fact that we are aware with you choosing this at the last minute and me just showing up there. And that is also an acknowledgement that there is magic on this planet. And the thing is that this conversation about beauty in general, well, these thoughts about beauty started with me already like 3, 4 years ago when I was waiting for Amanda that was in a class and I was not. And I was on social media and I just perceived how many people actually judge themselves by being on social media. They always compare themselves to other people. They're always trying to be better. They're always trying to achieve something that actually is unachievable because they're trying to be somebody else rather than actually being themselves. And I thought, well, something, I should do something about this, especially as a photographer, and I'm a commercial photographer as well. I'm a fashion photographer and advertising. And so, and I thought, imagine what the world would look like if more photographers were to have more allowance, more gratitude, and actually receive the beauty of whoever they have in front of their camera, which is something that I do. And I do it not just with the camera, but for me, when I meet a person, I don't see, the first thing that I see is not actually the face or the body. I actually perceive the being. And it's all of this that I'm going to say happens in a split second. So I perceive the being, and with that, I see the beauty, I perceive the beauty of that being. And beauty is actually receiving everything and everyone with no judgment, no projections, and no expectations. So when you receive somebody with no judgment whatsoever, all you see is beauty. And then I'm also aware of the ugliness that is created, which is created by the judgments of themselves, of me, of a camera, of having a camera point at them, and all of these things. And I had, this class was created by myself and Gary Douglas and Amanda as well, because with Amanda and Gary, I've been having a lot of conversations and thoughts about what beauty actually is and all the different levels of it. And trust me, this goes to so many different deep levels that we could not even imagine. Beauty, people think that it's something just physical and something you can see with your eyes, but it is actually in everything. And I was having this conversation with Amanda in Istanbul, actually, same period when we met, and we were having dinner, and I told her, I said, well, there was a thread, and it was actually an Axis thread of sorts. I can't remember which one, but somebody actually wrote, it doesn't matter because fascists have no taste anyway. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because I'm not particularly, first of all, politics and me don't go together. I don't understand them, and I will never will, and I do not ally and agree, and I don't resist and react to any of it. I'm just interesting point of view, basically, because I see what is actually going on behind it. But the thing is that if you look at the propaganda art of Hitler, the propaganda art of the USSR, the propaganda art of Mussolini, of Mao Zedong, and all of these, I mean, you have left and right and center there all put together, but all of that propaganda art I actually love. I actually see the beauty of it. Why? Because I do not go to the reasons and justifications why I should not like that, because they're associated with very interesting points of view. So imagine what the world will look like if people were to function that way. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, far from it. In actual fact, I'll tell you a story during this call, hopefully, about how asking for this class actually put me in this super, super heavy and intense period of my life that is going on right now. I mean, right now. And so imagine what the world would look like if at least photographers were to actually see the people in front of their cameras the way that I see everybody. Would there be judgment in the pictures? No. And if there's no judgment in the pictures, because whether you know it or not cognitively, you perceive it, you're all aware, you are all aware of everything, of every little ounce of judgment. And I'm talking about positive and negative judgment. Judgment is judgment. It doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative, it's just judgment. And judgment will always, always, always destroy. So imagine a social media with no judgment in the pictures. Would that create a different planet? Hell yes. Imagine a planet where we would not judge anything or anyone. We were just an interesting point of view all the time. Would it be a different world? Hell yes, that's the world I'm asking for. So, and imagine if there was no more self-judgment either. And that very often is the one that sticks us the most.
Mm.
Most of the time, we're willing to destroy and uncreate and get rid of all the judgments of everything else and everybody else, or at least a lot of people and a lot of things, but not ourselves.
Mm.
And we will hide it from ourselves as well.
Mm.
Now, with this intense period of my life right now, and I did not have a clue it would come here. I did not have a clue it would show up in these last 2 weeks. I went to sleep one night and everything was, I was so happy with my life and the way that it was changing and growing and growing and growing. And the morning after, everything changed.
Mm.
Everything. And this awareness came to me only a few days ago when I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine and facilitator as well. And I realized that when I created this class, Undefining Beauty, that is actually not a class about beauty. Well, it is, but it's actually a class about judgment.
Mm.
That's what it really is. And my ask for the universe was, what will it take for me to get rid of all the judgment in my world? That's what I'm asking for. And the universe presents me with this intensity in my life, saying, almost like saying, okay, you want to get rid of judgment? Let's see how well you're doing with this. Just
Mhm.
this little thing of changing everything in your life. And here I am.
Thank you for adding this like personal kind of personal information about the space you are in your life now, and it really um, how do you say, like we do this Zoom for Russian talking audience, and I don't know if you know or not, for Russian speaking people in different parts of the world, it's really intense times now
Yes,
in
I know.
this way or another. And these days, one phrase appears in my head a lot from Dostoevsky, Russian classic: "Beauty will save the world."
And it's so true. It is so true. And beauty will save the world when we choose it. And it will save the world when we choose to function from no judgment
So
of
yeah, and
any
what
sort.
would it take for us in these days or other days, like all the time something happens, right? And world is crazy, it's changing, and we never know, like we know, but we don't know exactly what will happen. Just we know changes are coming all the time. What
Yes.
would it take to see the beauty in all these changes?
Exactly. And that is quite a confronting question and quite a confronting concept to put forward to people, especially that are in the middle of this intensity. They're in the middle of all these changes. They're in the middle of all this insanity. And I get it. I get it. I'm not in a, in half of a serious position as, you know, the people in Russia. So I totally get you guys. But I'm in a very intense personal period. So I totally get it that when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the middle of the storm, you cannot see the sunshine. But the
Mhm.
sun is always shining above the clouds. That is a fact. It will always shine. So the thing is to try and see beauty with the insanity that is going on in Russia at the moment might be a little bit tricky.
Mhm.
And not just for people in Russia, for people all over the world, because that affects all of us. It
Mhm.
really affects all of us. But if we the thing that I realized also with and the analogy between my personal situation and Russia at the moment is really this, that you know, if whatever we project, whatever we fear, that is what we are actually feeding and that is what we're creating. What future do we desire? Do we desire a future of disaster? Do we desire a future of catastrophe? Do we desire a future of judgment and evil? No, we don't. I think none of us
Mhm.
actually desire that. And the one thing that most of us are not willing to give up is our judgment. So, does this mean that the war will end and all the insanity will end by people just being doormats and just accepting everything that is? No, I'm not talking about being a doormat. I'm talking about being in allowance and being an interesting point of view, being willing to see the insanity wherever it is, being willing to see the ugliness, and also being aware that ugliness, and these are not my words, these are Gary Douglas's words, beauty is everywhere in the whole universe. Ugliness is created. In other words, it's us that create the ugliness, or other people that create the ugliness. Animals, for instance, do not create ugliness. They never do. When an animal kills another animal, they have no point of view, neither the one that is being killed or the one that is killing. The one that is killing is just feeding. That's what they require. That's what their bodies require. The one that is being killed doesn't have a point of view about dying. Okay, I'm obviously done with this body. Thank you, body. I had great fun with you. Let me find another one. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no aligning or agreeing or resisting or reacting, and there is no judgment whatsoever. Plants do not have a single judgment. If you look at, I don't know if you've seen Attenborough's documentary that actually starts in Chernobyl. Please watch it. If you have not watched it. It's the biggest piece of art that he's ever created, David Attenborough. And the way that what he actually says is that it's not the planet that is in danger when we're talking about climate change. It's actually humanity. And he started the documentary in Chernobyl because if you go to Chernobyl now, there's plants growing all over the place. Nature is taking over. Nature is not at the effect of any of the radiations or anything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So nature was like, okay, well, this happened. Cool. What's right about that? Oh, hold on a second. Where there used to be a city, I can actually create more of me.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a resistance to reaction, or is that just like seeing possibilities about what is? So what if we could actually see possibilities beyond all the ugliness that we're aware of that has been created with judgment?
Mm.
In other words, my question for this is, what will it take for all of us, and especially all the people in Russia, to be an interesting point of view, not being doormats, but not aligning or agreeing or resisting or reacting with any of it, and actually being the potency they truly be, to actually create a change no matter what is required. That is what I'm asking for. And it's not done by force. Force will only feed force. Fight will always feed fight. War will always feed war. It has never changed anything. Now it's up to us to be the adults of consciousness and to make that choice, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and demand that choice of the universe, trusting that the universe will always provide us with what we ask for, and it will never deliver anything that we're not able to handle. And I really get that. And it did not start with the war. It actually started way before. It didn't even start with the pandemic. It started way before.
Sure.
And how much of this that is happening right now, all of it, and it's not just Russia, it's the whole world. If we look at politics, it's the whole world. How much of this have we not asked for that is necessary to create the change that we've been desiring for a completely different future made of kindness, of no judgment, of beauty, of allowance, and of thrival and not survival? I wonder.
Yeah. Thank you for this awareness and this energy you be when you talk about this. I would like to ask you about the beauty topic for your specialty class. As far as I know, for CFs, there are kind of not restrictions, but recommendations not to facilitate classes about sex, about abuse, about gaslighting, about something else I don't remember, and beauty. And I was like, when I saw this recommendation for the first time, like, what's about beauty? And then I met you. facilitating your specialty about beauty with the blessing of Gary Douglas.
Yes.
So I
And it's a
wonder.
very funny story how it happened actually,
Can you
because I
tell?
was renewing my license last year. And the first day of class, of CF training class, um, Gary Douglas opened the class furious, shouting at everybody, and just basically saying, "You fuckers are never ever allowed to facilitate a class on beauty again because you're fucking people over. You are destroying people, so you're not allowed to do it." And I was, already before class started, I was going to ask questions about creating this class as a CF. And then I hear that, so I shut up for the 5 days of class. Then I give 3 extra days to Gary to rest himself after the class, and then I called him. And I said, "Hi, Gary." He said, "Hi." I said, "I have a question for you." He said, "Yes." I said, "I would like to facilitate a class on beauty." And he said, "Andrea, did you not hear what I said in class?" I said, "Yes, I totally did. And that's why I'm calling you. Otherwise, I wouldn't." And I told him that. And then he said, "Okay, well, I'm totally against it. And tell me where you're coming from. Tell me what you see. And tell me why you want to create this class." And I told him basically what I told you guys. What I saw that started with social media, there was just a tiny, tiny, tiny tip of the iceberg for me to start exploring this subject, this topic, that then became a huge mountain because everything is covered by this topic. We've just been talking about the war. We've been talking about politics. We've been talking about the pandemic. We've been talking about propaganda art. And even this is still the tip of the iceberg. We've been talking about personal situations. That is still the tip of the iceberg. There's all these layers of hidden judgments, both positive and negative, that we create and have created and have been created for us in our lives that we are not even cognitively aware of yet. And this class, for me, it's really basically what I came to this planet for. It's basically when I'm saying this, I'm almost crying because it reminds me as a little kid choosing my family in a wonderful part of the planet in Africa, and I had everything that a little kid can dream of, and there was in at least in my surroundings, I could see the ugliness already then, but I was aware of it. I didn't, as a kid, I did not have that judgment either. I was aware of it all, but I was receiving so much beauty. And and then at a certain age, there was a war where I was, and I had to. I was. My parents stayed for 1 year and 1 more year while they sent me to Europe, to my sister, and that created a shift in my universe because I realized that the world was not what I thought it was. I was like 10, 11, no, 11 years old. And I realized that the world was something else, which is something that we're all aware of now. And and I really realized that everything that I've done until this point in my life, everything that I've been judging as good or bad or right or wrong, every single little piece of my life's puzzle actually contributed to me actually being here today in my intensity, having this conversation with you, creating this class, and having this big demand of myself and ask of the universe to actually get rid of all judgment.
I remember you in the castle. It was like first 10 minutes of our this meeting, and you say, "I have the main goal in my life to get rid of all judgments." I'm like, wow. So this is what they say when they just meet each other. Okay.
Yes.
It was really
Oops, sorry.
yeah, it was really strong. I'm like, yeah, I'm choosing that.
Yeah.
So there is Ksenia Samarina. She participated in your class,
Yeah.
and she's telling that you're really brave to have this specialty, to create this specialty. And she was at your first class and then at another one, and it was beautiful and amazing and very, very deep. And
Yeah,
she
thank you.
Yeah, and she's also sharing later that about 10 years she was working in beauty industry in Russia, and she always perceived a lot of heaviness and lie. And this year she closed her beauty project and she was like lost what to do. And at your class on Defining Beauty, she was inspired to create totally different business beyond of everything she had before.
Yes. Yes.
It's not only about beauty, she says.
Thank you, Zenia. Thank you. And yes, I remember our conversations in the class. And wow, that first class, it was potent. It was potent. And the thing with this class is that it really is undefinable.
Mm,
And by calling it undefining beauty, it says where I'm going with this, but it also plays with people's minds, letting them think that it's about something else when it actually isn't. And it is for those that actually get it and those that are actually willing to receive it. And Zenia, you're one of those that I don't think it's because you were working in the beauty industry. I actually know that it's because you were so aware that this was way greater
mm,
and a way broader, and that's basically what it is. It covers so many layers, and the physical aspect of beauty is only the beginning, and it's
mm,
basically the way that we can relate to beauty, i.e., judgments, by hiding them. Behind the concept of the physical beauty and hiding all the other layers of judgment that we might have in our lives.
mm.
Quite cute of us, isn't it?
Yeah. And talking about the topic of our Zoom, Are You Beautiful? Maybe you could share a tool or something, uh, how to get rid or get out of this, like doubts or trying to define your own beauty.
Yes. First of all, everything you decided beauty is, that it isn't. And everything you decided beauty isn't, that it is. Are you willing to destroy and create it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pop, pop, all natural boys, perverts, and beyond. That I would run constantly, first of all, because it's one of those things that gets you out of your thinking. And I would actually listen to this call several times because what we said in the beginning, especially about letting go of the different layers of judgment, you might actually start perceiving different areas of your life where you're still judging the crap out of yourself or somebody else, and it's mainly ourselves that we judge actually. You might discover those layers that you've been hiding so deep that you're not even cognitively aware of. So be very present with you. Be very present in general, and be present on how you still function from reaction. Whenever we function from reaction, we're actually going into judgment.
Mhm.
So when you go into reaction rather than interesting point of view, ask yourself, what ugliness am I perceiving here that has been created? And everything that is, please destroy and uncreate it all times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, nitrous, boys, perverts, and beyonds. And regarding the physical aspect of beauty, that is also such a great way, such a great excuse to use judgment in our lives. I was having a conversation with my best friend actually the other day. He's a captain, flight of airplanes, and he does not do access, and he's an amazing being. But he actually showed me how most people actually function because we were having a little bit of this conversation together regarding my personal situation at the moment. And he said, but everybody judges. And I said, unfortunately, I'm aware of that, and it's not necessary. He said, yes, it's part of human nature. We have to judge. And I said, well, do we? What are we creating with judgment?
Mm.
So we went down that road. So I was made very aware of how most people on the planet actually think that judgment is required in order to function. And while just that concept, which blew my mind, is actually what is holding this insane reality together. It's what is tying the insanity of this planet. And we make damn sure that it does not crumble apart just by us still being in the point of view that judgment is required to function on this planet. Interesting point of view.
As far as we judge enough, the planet will survive.
Exactly. When it's in actual fact, it's quite the opposite.
Mm.
As long as we keep on judging, the planet will not survive, or rather, we will not survive on this planet. The planet will always survive. We won't. We will
Yeah.
kill each other and we will kill ourselves with judgment.
And how many of us function same way with our bodies? Like if I judge my body enough, right enough,
Yeah.
it will be more, I don't know,
Yes.
what to
Exactly.
say.
And if you look at social media, that's exactly what it's all about.
Mm.
It's about judging the crap out of your body.
Mm.
It's literally about judging the crap out of your body.
Mhm.
Because you're comparing yourself to everybody else. You're judging yourself for not posting enough. You're judging yourself for not having enough followers. You're judging yourself for losing followers. Instead of just play with it, have fun, do commerce. Commerce is connecting with people like we are now.
Yeah.
It's like, hi, how are you? What's up in your world? How can I contribute? That is commerce. So why not do commerce rather than judging the crap out of yourself? It's way more fun.
Yeah, I just recognized that my dog does commerce all the time. She's like, hello, who are you? Hello, who are you? Let's play, let's play.
Yeah, dogs are wonderful that way.
Yeah,
Dogs
and
are
nobody
totally
can
wonderful
resist
that way.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
And it's this caring, it's this nurturing, it's this contribution, it's this presence, it's this expansion, and it's this relaxation. It's really this relaxation. And this period in my life is probably one of the biggest lessons I've been taught by the universe in terms of allowance, in terms of gratitude, in terms of non-judgment, in terms of all of this. And it really is all related to what I said to you when we first met. I want to get rid of all the judgment on the planet. And the thing is, on social media and around the planet, first of all, let me ask you a question. How many beauty ideals are there on the planet? Is it just one beauty ideal, or is there many?
many,
Right. How many beauty ideals are there in Russia? One or many?
many.
You're in St. Petersburg, right?
Yeah.
How many beauty ideals are there in St. Petersburg? One or many?
There are some, yeah.
Is your beauty ideal the same as your next door neighbor?
No.
Is your next door neighbor's beauty ideal the same as his or her next door neighbor?
Mm.
Are there as many beauty ideals as there are people on this planet, and even more?
Mhm.
Right. And what is a beauty ideal rather than a judgment?
Yeah, that's cool.
Did I make my point here?
Yes, clearly.
And talking about beauty ideals, I will share a clearing if I find it here about that.
Yeah. Can I read something from the chat while you're
Absolutely, please do.
reading?
Please do.
Because Alisa actually loved Alisa holding her implant bands while listening to us.
I
And then,
love it. Go, 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 Alisa.
and then she shared that just recently she realized that she choose and create everything from the point that something have to be fixed and have to be like changed into something better from the idea that it's not so good. And she decided somewhere that this is how it is, and if she doesn't do anything, then she will destroy it, and then she will realize that, okay, now I'm totally fucked up, and then she start to create from that. And now she realized that this is the life from judgment. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's this thing that when we're judging, then we catch ourselves judging either ourselves or something else or somebody else, and then we judge ourselves for having judged. And it's this downward spiral that never ends. And let me give you one tip. First of all, the awareness that judgment and gratitude can never, ever, ever, ever coexist. You cannot have judgment in place and gratitude in place at the same time. It's impossible. So, and the other thing is that gratitude is the biggest dissolvent of judgment.
Mm.
So whenever you replace gratitude with, judgment with gratitude, you're actually getting rid of the judgment.
Mm.
So whatever you do, especially people in Russia, do not be grateful for anything or anyone, especially yourself right now, when you're actually functioning from so much judgment of what is going on.
Mhm.
Whatever you do, do not be gratitude, because
Never,
that would be bad.
never do this.
Never do that. It would end up in a world that we've been asking for. That's too bad. It would be way too much fun.
Mm.
Um, let me see. I'm trying to find this clearing. I really wanted to give you this clearing.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe this actually showed up, this other clearing that I was not expecting. And since we're talking about gratitude, my eyes just fell on this. So, functioning from gratitude, where I'm reading from a manual in creation for the class. So, there's no manual for the class yet. It's something that is a process that takes time and space, and we're working on it.
Mm.
So, these are things that have shown up in different classes of Undefining Beauty. So, functioning from gratitude creates what you truly desire to create with your life, while judgment destroys everything you've been asking for. So, what ESSC, MMMP can you and your body be to have the courage to choose what works for you and to be the greatest freak of the universe who chooses to create greater for yourself and for the planet rather than trying to fit in, trying to be someone that you think is better than you.
I think we lost Tatiana. I'm sorry. I think we lost Tatiana. She's like laughing and could you send this
Yes,
clearing
let me see if I can.
to me and I will send it to
Yes,
Tatiana.
yes,
I
yes,
can
yes.
I can see her like ah.
Let me see, copy, and I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. I was not expecting this clearing myself, Tatiana. You're not alone.
One second. Oh my god. Done. Tatiana, check your telegram.
And please do not try and make sense of this clearing. Even, I mean, I came up with this clearing during a class, and by reading it, I don't have a fucking clue how I came up with this one. It's one of those downloads, and just receive it. So, what ESCC, MMMP can you and your body be to have the courage to choose what works for you and to be the greatest freak of the universe who chooses to create greater for yourself and for the planet rather than trying to fit in, trying to be someone that you think is better than you, the one that everyone looks up to and admire, the successful one, everyone else on everybody else's scales except yours, by mutilating every part of you until you become the monstrosity of this reality that is definitely not you. Will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Times a gazillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, for poor, conscious boys, perverts, and beyonds. And basically, where that is going is that what we do with social media and everything else is that we compare ourselves, we try and we look up to these people. I want to be like so and so, I want to be even greater than so and so. What do we do then? We make ourselves tiny. We cut our beauty off. So all the beautiful parts of us, we mutilate, basically like chopping off our arms, our legs, our head, everything, in order to try and become somebody that we're not. and trying to fit into this reality and into everybody else's judgments by thinking that the judgments that we have are actually ours. So everywhere you buy the lie that everybody else's lies are your own, can we please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, purple, financials, boys, perverts, and beyonds. And how about asking yourself what actually works for you? What is your reality? What is the future you actually desire to create with this? Out of kindness, out of nurturing, out of contribution, and out of curiosity, and out of the space of being excited about this great adventure called life.
Mm.
Wow. As you can perceive a little bit of the energy of this class that is not only called Undefining Beauty, but it's a class that is actually undefinable.
Mm.
And every class is different. Every class changes. I cannot predict what the next class is going to be like, what it's going to show up, because it's the people in class with their questions and their energy that actually create the class. With this one, I think more than with a lot of other classes, because it's really based on this thing of how we actually function from judgment.
Mhm.
And so it's an ongoing journey for me. And you know, when we create classes of our own, like specialty classes, it's actually something that we're trying to facilitate ourselves
Mhm.
for in order to create something greater, not only in our own world, but for the planet. And I'm so aware of that right now, as I said before, with where I'm at in my life.
Mm.
And yes, it's fucking uncomfortable. And I'm so fucking grateful for every ounce of it. And I wonder what else is possible.
What else is possible? So, do you have another class scheduled already? When will be
Yes, I
undefining?
do. Actually, I have two classes scheduled, and they're up on my website. And they're also, I can put the link here to the website. So it's www.thebellusos.com. So there you will go either under events or under Andrea and then Andrea's events, and there you'll find them in both places. So I have three things to propose to you guys actually. One
Mm.
is on the 7th of October. You are all kindly invited to a free Zoom with the one and only, the magnificent, the unbelievably magic Mr. Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness. So Gary and I will have a conversation about this topic, and the class is called "When Cosmetics Cannot Fix Your Beauty, What Will?"
I love this name. It's
Yes, and it's Gary that gave me the name of this call when I asked him if he wanted to have a conversation with me about it, and he said, "So, what do you think people think about this class when they see it posted in social media?" And I said, I'm convinced, Gary, that people think this is because I'm a photographer, I'm a fashion and beauty photographer, they think I'm going to talk about cosmetics. You know, that's what they're going to think. He said, and then he just said that. So when cosmetics can't fix your beauty, what else will? At first, I didn't get it. That was the title he was giving me. I was like, what do you mean, Gary? Well, gratitude, of course. And everything else. And so, yeah, so I'm inviting you to that. It's a free Zoom on the 7th of October at 6 p.m. Central European Time. The next day, so Saturday the 8th, there is the intro class of Undefining Beauty called A Taste of Undefining Beauty, live in Stockholm and online worldwide. And we're doing it on Zoom. And the day after that, so Sunday the 9th, there is a one-day class of Undefining Beauty.
Mhm.
And these classes have no prerequisites.
Mhm.
There is another class that I've created recently, also about Undefining Beauty, which is called Undefining Beauty: A Deep Dive. That one is a 2-day class. It has prerequisites, but not very high. But I'm not going to talk about that because there isn't one posted yet, but there's one coming soon. but these three events is something that I would love to invite you to, and I hope you will join me, especially with your questions, and make this class grow beyond what we have decided is going to be possible.
I shared the links to Zoom with Gary, which I'm totally looking forward to hear, and intro class, and the rest they can find on your website. So we will be happy to see you guys there. And you ask for Russian translation and you will get it. So please register and tell us that you need translation. We'll help you for sure.
Exactly. Ask and you shall receive is one of those things that actually do work. So whatever you do, don't use that either. And Russian is, I mean, there's people in other languages here. If you require translation to other languages, don't ask for it because you will not get it. It's only Russians that get translations here.
Only for Russians. All the
Only
best.
for Russians.
Yeah. So there is an interesting comment in our chat. I was looking at this and like, should I translate it or not? But maybe I judged it already. So let's let's talk about this. There's Albina telling that I don't get anything. It's like I'm listening to some drunk man talk. What's right about this? I don't get.
Yep. Well, I'm not drunk. I guarantee you that. I am mad, yes, and I'm glad about it. Gary Douglas, one day, I was having a long conversation with him about dreams and about whatever, and he said, never talk about that in class. So I'm not talking about dreams now. But the one question that I asked him was, at the end of this conversation, was like, Gary, am I actually mad? Am I absolutely, totally insane? And he said, yes, of course you are. I said, thank you. He said, no, but wait a second, because you're not done yet, because it's only when you actually will be able to acknowledge exactly how insane you actually are that you will actually be free.
That's so cool.
Everything doesn't allow you to be the insane person of this insane reality you truly be for all eternity. Can we please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, popcorn, ashes, boys, perverts, and beyonds. Do you want to be sane in an insane reality that calls insanity sanity? I take insane as a compliment, to be honest.
Oh, I'm so happy I translated this question, Albina. Thank you for your comment in the chat. And Alisa says, like a Mad Hatter, like from the chocolate factory. Oh, from
I
Alice.
like that. The Mad Hatter is very elegant. I can totally relate to him. Yes.
Totally.
And I like chocolate.
There is no greatness without a touch of madness, someone says.
Story. So how crazy can you be and have way too much fun today or tonight?
Yes, Andrea, thank you so much for your energy, for your awareness, for your beauty, and for sharing all this awareness and tools with us. Really looking forward to join your Zoom with Gary. It's just being there without translation, maybe if you don't understand English, but I'm sure it will be translated into Russian.
I'm pretty sure it will be somehow.
Yeah, to have this like two mad hatters talking to each other.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, you think you're just seeing one drunk, crazy person talking to you makes no sense? Well, welcome on the 7th of October. You'll be very damn tough.
I can see Alisa is putting her hand up.
Yes, Alisa, you have a question?
Yeah, can you unmute her?
Yes, please. I'll just ask you to unmute. 1 second. There you go.
Hello.
Hi, Alisa.
That was funny, but I had to run my bars because my head was like exploding. And when Yulya read this comment about a drunk guy, I said like, oh my God, this was the judgment, because I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? I have one question, is that I often hear, like in the access consciousness community, the things that there is something wrong with our reality. How come that isn't a judgment? This I don't get.
Okay, I had part of this conversation with my best friend, the pilot, the other day, and there is very clear distinction about between judgment and awareness. So are you judging, or are you actually aware of the ugliness that has been put in place and created? And whenever you think you're actually judging, you're going into judgment, please put your barriers down, take a deep breath, expand, and ask yourself that question. So, truth, am I judging here, or am I simply aware of the ugliness that is created? Because, yes, I mean, I can't put a general answer to that. It really depends on the energy that you choose with what is. Okay? And this reality, I mean, Access is not trying to destroy this reality. Access is not trying to change this reality. Access is actually giving us pragmatic tools on how to navigate this insane reality and actually create our own reality. We're not trying to do anything with this reality. Interesting point of view. How can I thrive with this reality? How can I actually create my reality, the reality and the future of the planet that I truly desire with this reality? Is not functioning from exclusion or elimination or separation, because consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. And everything that product can replace, destroy, and create it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pop, all naturals, boys, poets, and beyonds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa, for a question.
Yeah.
And we have one more question from JMX Studios.
Yes, JMX Studios. How are you, my friend? I will ask you to unmute yourself. And please feel free to come on camera too if you would like. I would like that a lot.
Hello, sir.
How are you doing, my friend? Are you willing to come on camera so we can see you and say hi to you?
Sir, I don't have the webcam yet, so
Okay.
it's not possible for me.
No worries.
And I want to ask, yeah, I'm from India.
Yes.
We have the conversation on Instagram many times.
Yes.
And I want to ask one question. That's how do you differentiate between a constructive criticism over judgment?
What is criticism for you?
So I'm asking that a constructive criticism over judgments.
What is a constructive criticism for you? I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, a constructive criticism is like just we had from you right now. That is what I call a constructive criticism.
Interesting point of view. You have this point of view, my friend. I do not criticize whatsoever, constructive or destructive. I do not criticize. And if you're one of those photographers that have asked for portfolio reviews, you know very well that I do not do such thing, because I do not function from feeding my point of view and my point of view basically to anybody else. I function from asking questions of what works for you and what is true for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But either ways, if someone is listening and someone is giving the answer, so what we can understand is that in some ways and somehow at some point we do judge, because I don't lie. That's all. That's all for my. That is my life mystery. That I don't lie to people. I don't lie with people. Not any point of. Not any point on any life event. That's the fact that I'm telling right now. But I can say that somehow some people, your point of view is right. You are right, and this should be there, that we should not judge things, people's events, beauty, anything in the world. It's not been judged. It is all for goodness. Okay, we should take the positive points and we should nourish ourselves with the positive things. But one thing I have seen also, that see, I do judge. Apart
I
from
know. You made it obvious for everyone that you're judging the crap out of yourself, especially, my friend.
yeah,
What is your,
that's
I do not function from answers, my dear friend. I function from question. I do never give you the answers. I never give any answers. I ask a hell of a lot of questions. So,
yeah,
and
yeah. You don't give answers, but you made us to think. That's why I have yeah, to think
uh,
that this is,
so where are you still functioning from judgment that you're not willing to let go of?
yeah, sometime at some point maybe, but after this classes what I have attended, or the previous class was, I missed the previous class. It was arranged by you. That's the timing was not fit for me, and that time I skipped that class. Uh, but I can say that now, slowly and gradually following you and seeing your work, and I can make sure that at some point I will not judge things like uh, you do.
Well, as a photographer, how much are you still functioning from creating the perfect picture?
See, there is no perfect picture at all. I can say that if you click something, you can find beauty over there. It's just an observation for a photographer to observe things and to present to whomsoever it should be. See, whatever the functioning is for me, just I don't judge something that I should take pictures of this thing only. Whatever I like, it is good. I click those pictures and I just post it wherever it is
Can I ask you a
necessary.
question?
Okay, yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah, 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 sure.
So, if you had a person
Okay,
that you do not consider good looking showing up in front of the camera,
okay. No, no. Why should he is not to be in front of the camera?
you see,
See, I don't.
why
Yeah.
should he or she not be in front of the camera? In other words, you're still judging that that person is not beautiful. There you have a
No,
hidden point of view of a judgment that you still
no.
have.
I don't judge. I don't judge for the people that he or she should not be in the front of the camera. That's not my point of view. If I should judge at that point, at that time, at that place, I should quit photography. That is my what I can say, that I can judge myself that I should quit because if I can
Can I
judge
stop you,
that
please?
people is,
Can I, excuse me. Can I
yes,
just
sir.
stop you for 2 seconds? We have a little bit of limited time. I would just like
Yeah,
you to invite you to relax.
yeah,
Read your energy. Read your energy, how much resistance, reaction, fight, and proving you're still functioning from. And look at that. And just be in the question. And the question could be, what will it take for me to actually relax with all of this?
And maybe join the Undefining Beauty class.
That would be a bad idea. Don't do it. Whatever you do, don't join the Undefining Beauty class.
Yeah, sure. It's not for Indians
No, it's not for Indians. It's not for photographers.
and not for photographers for sure.
So whatever you do,
yeah,
don't
but
choose it, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for
Being
the question.
ironical. We're being ironical.
Yeah,
Yes.
just thank you for your question. Just maybe this is not the private facilitation call.
Exactly.
It's more about the class.
It's a conversation. It's about the class. So let's have this conversation during class. It's a great conversation, and I get that it would create greater. So please do join the class on October the 8th.
7th,
8th.
8th,
You're
8th.
more
Yes.
than welcome to the 7th as well. Yes, I strongly recommend that. But the
You can
8th,
ask this question to Gary.
ask Gary this question and put your seatbelt on.
Thank you for the question.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Thank
would
you,
like
thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
At the end,
Thank
I would
you.
like to share one thing that I got from our shooting and facilitation you gave me. When we finished the process and you showed me something on your laptop and you said, when you will receive all the photos, please choose the one you don't like the most. Look at it precisely and judge the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And like, find everything you don't like, every little piece, judge it, and then find the one that you adore, like the photo from the series that you think like, wow, really, I'm beautiful here, and the stuff. Look at it, and then be grateful for the photo you didn't like, because without it, you wouldn't have this one.
Yeah. And whatever you do, guys, don't listen to Yulia and don't do that with your life. It's just for her pictures.
It's only for my shooting. It
It's
has
only
no
for her
connection
shooting.
with your life.
Exactly. Don't look at any of the areas of your life that you're still judging and don't be grateful for them by doing just what she said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us, for your questions, and for just being with us. And see you soon,
See you
somewhere on
very
the
soon. And thank you so much, Tatiana. And Yulia, thank you for, creating this with me and what else is possible. And I would love to do more with you and keep this conversation going. And yes,
Thank you, Andrea. I'm very.
really grateful. Bye bye now, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.